Take the total number of hours or miles a bomber can fly. Divide by 2, and you have its range. The maximum distance it can reach, deliver its cargo, and return to its base. Extend this distance beyond 1/2, plus gliding ratio times altitude, minus landing approach, and you have disaster. You have exceeded PNR, the point of no return. In mid-1944, our longest range bomber, the B-29, is a yo-yo tied to the string of distance. From Seattle, it can reach impotence and return. From San Francisco, frustration. From Los Angeles, Catalina. Beneath its deadliness lies only the Pacific. From Alaska, the vastness of nowhere is within range. From Hawaii, the friendly island. From Tarawa and the Gilberts, the fringe of the ultimate. But we are still too far away.
Capture of any island which supported or could support airfields from which our planes could function was always an item of strategic importance. But 2 airfield locations captured by the Marines accomplished particularly important objectives in the overall Pacific strategy, enabled us to accelerate our favorable progress and materially shorten the war. Although the Peleliu campaign was launched several months after those in the Marianas, we will deal first with the field on Peleliu.
Here is your host, General Holland M. Smith, former Commanding General Fleet Marine Force, Pacific Area, United States Marine Corps. Why was this particular one so important, General Smith?
Because it lay smack dab on the flank of the planned campaign for the recapture of the Philippines. It was so close to the intended route of approach that its fighter planes could give air cover to its bombers while they were pounding our invasion fleet. It was too far from existing American bases to make permanent neutralization possible. If planes from that field were going to be over our fleet, we wanted them to be ours.
It is September 15th, 1944. We storm ashore through heavy enemy fire. This porcupine of jagged coral rises 30 feet above the beach level. From its inaccessible beach face, rifles, machine gun, and a 47 millimeter come to life. We probe for its weakness. Apparently, it has none. Assault from the beach is impossible. The rifle platoon assigned to deal with it fights inland, then executes a turning movement to take it from the landward side. Underbrush protecting their rifle pits is burned away. Resistance is fierce and stubborn. The support platoon is committed. 2-hour firefight, they annihilate the 4 pillboxes mounting heavy enemy machine guns. The 5th, the principal installation, is a powerful reinforced casemate built into the coral near the base of the cliff. It withstands repeated assaults. Here is emplaced the 47-millimeter gun, which has been creating havoc on the landing beach.
We close one opening, they pop up at another. But every such installation must have an air vent.
Alone, exposed. A lieutenant, the surviving platoon leader, dodges forward. Missed by a score of riflemen, he drops a smoke grenade to cover the approach. A corporal launches a rifle grenade into the firing aperture. It strikes the gun barrel, knocking the weapon out of action and igniting something inflammable.
No one pushed this man into this deed of bravery. He was driven to it by that intangible something inside that so frequently explodes the ordinary into the realm of greatness. He could not settle for less. He was fighting for so much more. He was a Marine.
As we push forward in the center, the terrain is favorable for maneuver. We move toward our 01 phase line. Here we tie in, partly because of the action similar to that at the Coral Hill, which is retarding the drive on the left, and partly because of the heavy artillery fire, which sweeps the airfield from the high ground to the north.
Shortly after noon, pillboxes slow our advance.
Tanks have been coming ashore since 20 minutes after the initial landings. We call for assistance. Pending the arrival of the tanks, Amtraks lend supporting fire and are hit. The area is cleared and we move forward. Other units move north across the exposed runways. As we progress, the enemy artillery fire is intensified.
Then we get a break. Tanks moving up in support of I Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, are obliged to skirt the southern edge of the airfield to avoid an anti-tank ditch. Our unit is I Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. When their driver asks if we are I Company, we say yes.
Together, we move forward. Later, the mistake is rectified. At 4:50 p.m., the enemy makes a tank infantry sortie across the northern portions of the airfield. Concerted efforts wipe out both tanks and infantry. Repeated smaller attacks are beaten off. By nightfall, we own 1/2 of the airfield. dawn brings increased artillery fire from the enemy. Deadly fire pours from the flank installations in the woods and scrubs jungle. As we reach the main service apron and hangar area, we encounter Japanese resistance in strength. By the night of September 16, 1944, the airfield is in our possession.
By the 28th of September, the enemy on Peleliu had been compressed into that last pocket of bitter resistance. But artillery fire from nearby Guadalcanal was taking a toll of the Marines. To clear this island and also secure the fighter strip which it supported, a shore-to-shore operation was planned.
Yards across the strait lies the enemy-held island. Tanks, Amtraks armored, and LVTs are assigned the mission. To protect our concentration point, Marine planes begin the strafing, which will not lift until we are 90 feet from the enemy beach. Tanks lead the landing force, flanked by the LVTAs, followed by the LVTs, filled with the assault troops. Three of the tanks swamp. LVTAs spearhead the landing and furnish covering fire. Pillboxes and caves impeding our progress are disposed. gain the airstrip. In an area presumed cleared, artillery begins construction of a position. One Marine is wounded, lies exposed to enemy fire. A tank covers while his buddies rescue him. Some of us administer first aid.
Others go after the sniper. Clutching a grenade, he darts from his concealment.
Capture of the airfield on Peleliu and the fighter strip on Guadalcanal secured and anchored the right flank of what would be the drive into the Philippines. Now we knew that any aircraft flying from either of these fields would provide friendly air cover, if needed, for the invasion at Leyte. The other field, which had such a far-reaching historical and strategic effect, was located on Tinian in the Marianas.
And what was its special significance, General Smith?
Its location. It would place Tokyo directly beneath our bomb sites. This would enable us to bring a taste of war to the Japanese home island, destruction to her war production facilities, and weaken her internal morale. It would breach the inner defense circle. It was the beginning of the end.
It is July 25th, 1944. The island is Tinian. The day is D+2. The objective, airfields number 1 and 3. As our unit presses farther to the north, resistance develops along the coast. Enemy survivors of last night's savage counterattack are holed up in the craggy coral.
In about 3 seconds, one of the enemy will dart along the crest and try to kill our cameraman.
By 11:15, our advance is bogged to a virtual standstill in the face of a knotty core of opposition near the water's edge. The rugged terrain makes tank support impracticable. Armored amphibians, due to the shore's configuration, cannot hit the area with their fire. To relieve the deadlock, the battalion pivots to the left, wheels in an arc to the beach. Within 15 minutes, a pocket of 20 to 25 well-concealed riflemen is reduced. At 11:30, one battalion attacks eastward toward the build-up area around Yushi Point Airfield and the airstrip itself.
In victory, to the world, they are magnificent. To themselves, just sweaty. To them, it is a few hundred feet of concrete. To the Joint Chiefs of Staff, each foot has been projected into thousands of aerial miles. To the Marines, it is a stinking island, pitted and defaced by explosive agonies. A receptacle of bitter memory. To the planners in high echelon, it is this. And this. And this. And eventually, this. These scenes they do not see. Today, their only realization is a victory, and the rest so arduously won. Our B-29 is still a yo-yo, tied to the string of distance. But they have extended the string. They are Marines.